Welcome to Pencils and Lipstick. This is a podcast for indie authors. I'm Kat Caldwell, novelist, short story writer, and book coach. Here on Pencils and Lipstick, we're obsessed with all things story, and it is my goal to bring you the writing tips that you need to make your novel come to life. All right, welcome back, everyone, to Pencils and Lipstick. This is Craft&Connect with Becky Grogan and Kat Caldwell, and this is episode, I'm looking at the calendar, 315. But it's number 4 of Craft&Connect, I believe. And we're launching into the summer. Hi, Becky.
Hi, Kat. We're already on a roll and we haven't even started.
I
It's
know,
great.
that's why we hit the record. Like
Just be doing this.
summer's rolling in, you and I are chatting, and we say, oh my goodness, we have to record this.
I wish, as Kat said before we got on, could stop talking so that we can make sure we have good stuff for when we're actually filming. Because, we talk about it and forget. So, yes,
This is true. This is also a problem. Like, what
it
did I
is.
say? It was so good. Wait, oh no.
I have to write it down. If my head's down, it's because I'm trying to write myself notes to remember. And I can't see anyway because I don't have my glasses on.
Oh my gosh, you're just like going in blind. Oh my gosh.
Wait.
Oh.
And they're usually so dirty, I can't see out of them anyway.
So
All right. So,
I actually stayed up last night really late to watch the last fight because my husband loves UFC, and it was a Spaniard versus, well, it was a nationalized Spaniard. He's actually from Georgia, nationalized Spain, and then versus an American, and the guy got hit. He couldn't see. I was like, how is he still fighting? Like his eyes are like swollen. So solidarity, Becky.
I don't know. UFC fighting reminds me of what used to happen in the hallways between bells at my high school.
Exactly.
It's like somebody walks by, gets a punch in the face, and then it's on.
You're like, why are there men on the floor? Like, why are they straddling? I was thinking the whole time, I was like, this is a romance writer's dream. Like,
Yes. And this is going to be a cliffhanger, but Kat, I do have to tell you about the romance trope that I want you to write about that I
oh no.
experienced when I was in my hometown a couple of months ago, and it includes firemen.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when I was in Paris with my teenager, I my mom and I, at some point there were firemen, and we were both like, oh, a man in a uniform. And my teenager was like, what?
Oh,
Like, what is going on with you two? And we're like, don't you just love a man in a uniform? So the rest of the time she's like, oh, there's a cop. You want to go talk to him? There's a fireman. You want to go talk to him?
bus driver, he's wearing a uniform.
she's,
Yeah, it was,
she's like, aren't you
yeah.
happily married? Like, my mother in her 70s is like, everyone can admire a good canvas.
Yeah, so I'm hitting my nieces, my great niece is with me and she's 11. And I'm like, look at the fireman, look at the fireman. And she's like, Aunt BB, I'm playing. She had my phone. I'm like, no, but you got it. She's like,
Oh,
tag on it, girl.
dang
What's wrong with
phones.
you?
They're ruining everything.
Yes.
All right, but we're
All
not
right.
here to talk about marketing. We are here to talk about what to do this summer for marketing, because everything changes in the summer, doesn't it? Like,
Yes.
just schedules, and children are home if you have children, and
And even if you don't have kids at home, for
partners
some
might be home.
reason,
Why?
yeah. I mean, you're thinking about vacation. It's suddenly
Yeah.
warm enough. Me, I'm thinking about ticks, which is a whole different thing because
You just want a
they
glass of
worry me.
rosé and spray the ticks.
So, yeah, so it's harder. And when my son was at home, I hated summer because I never had enough childcare for him.
Right.
And so it was and I was working full time, so it was a constant battle of what to do. So therefore, everything went with total focus on him and keeping him busy and happy. And so anything else, whether it's writing, your hobbies, whatever, go out the window,
Right.
and it suddenly becomes a chore to get the grocery shopping done.
Yes.
I don't know why it is. And then everybody wants you to, barbecue and stuff, as you were saying. So
Yes. The last
let's
minute
have a
things.
picnic. Like, yeah, let's have a picnic. It's 150 degrees outside. That's fun. Let's do that.
That
Yeah.
I don't
Um,
understand. Why are we doing this?
I think a picnic in the winter is much better, but that's just me. So, what we want to try to do to help people with this podcast is what are some ways that you can do something over the summer
Mhm.
to prepare yourself for when you start getting back into your social media for your books or your marketing for your books, whatever it is that you're doing, your newsletter, your blog. Because we all know that, you plan, 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 but then life happens and all of a sudden you're way behind where you wanted to be. So we wanted to try to give you something that you could do over the summer that you
Right.
do at your own pace, that, we've even figured out a way to have the kids help, which is brilliant.
I would love to see this
Brilliant.
actually.
Yes. And if you do this idea that we're going to talk about in a
Please
little bit,
tag us.
yes, please tag us and then take your own video so we can see what's going on because it's probably going to be pretty funny.
Actually, yes.
Um,
If you guys do this on social media, please tag us. I'm going to put our Instagrams down below because I would love to see what people are doing.
oh, yeah, because I bet it would be very eye-catching and probably make people stop because I can just imagine some of the stuff that would happen. But so what we want to do is I just want to bring up for everyone that if you have not done the exercises on author branding and identifying your ideal reader, you need to do those and you need to
Mhm.
look at them. Because, again, if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing and what boundaries you can set, what is reasonable for you, you're not going to know how to be able to sustain marketing, whether it's winter, summer, or whatever. So those two pillars are just from the way I teach marketing, and again, I teach marketing the way I believe it and what I understand. Other people have differing opinions, and that's great. But for this case, know your brand and know your ideal reader
Yeah.
and really know who that ideal reader is, because unless you know that, you don't know how to message them. You
Yes.
don't know what your narration should be, you don't know what they're interested in,
Mhm.
and you don't know what content to use.
And you'll get off course. I will even add, I think people should look into doing the first two pillars when they're off social media. I really think that social media, even if you're just scrolling, just having fun, you'll see something that will influence what you think you should be. And I
Yes.
and I think even if that person is a great person, like phenomenal, great, they're not you. And I think, unfortunately, I mean, I'm in my mid 40s and I still am like, oh, should I be doing that? And you have to
Hmm.
come back to, no, this is my ideal reader. This is what I am focused on. So I would do the exercises, honestly. Like, take a morning, actually don't open your Instagram and look at it and make sure it's really you.
Yeah. And that's the thing with the author brand is that it's about you.
Right.
And once you get these core values down, between four and six of them, and you understand what you need, what you can do, what you're able to do, what aligns with the things you believe,
Mm-hmm.
then that gives you a framework of, I know I can do this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not comfortable with that.
Right.
And if you are watching social media and scrolling a ton, you're going to see people doing things that you know you don't want to do, but you're going to be like, oh, they're successful, or we think they're
Right.
successful. I'm going to do it anyway. And that's going to just not be fruitful. It's
Yeah.
it's just going to be a waste of time. So you really need to know what your author brand is and who that ideal reader is.
Yeah.
It's really
Absolutely.
important. Because you're just, again, otherwise you're just going to do all the stuff and all the stuff is not going to work. And I keep saying this and it's just like pick one thing. Pick
Mm-hmm.
one thing to start.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily have to be social media.
No,
Um,
that is true. Is marketing just social media, Becky?
no, marketing is not just
We will
social
say it
media.
every time.
Yes,
It is the most
marketing is
visible, I
actually,
guess, to us, but it's not just social.
yes, and it is a good tool for visibility if that's what you're comfortable with. But if you're an introvert and you don't want to show your face and you don't want to do video, that's not going to be good. It's not going
Right.
to be good for you. You'll
It's gonna
do
be
it, maybe. You
maybe.
won't be comfortable, and then you'll never do it again, or you'll never do it consistently. And if you're not consistent, remember, these algorithms will just throw you down to the bottom, and you can't claw your way back up
Oh
sometimes.
my
It's just
gosh, no. And I mean, if you are going to do social media, it is so important to have your ideal reader because you want to be talking specifically to that person. Like the whole point of social media is to grab the attention of that one person. If you don't know
yeah.
who you're trying to grab the attention of, you are really going to flounder. It's going to feel like a lot of work. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be overwhelming. Like everything comes back to your ideal reader. if you get a bad review, you can be like, you're not my ideal reader. I mean, when I get a man being like, romance, I'm like, who cares? Like what you
Yeah,
say.
you're not my ideal
You're
reader.
not my ideal reader. You know?
But yeah, I mean, it's again, we go back to, and this is just a little mindset tidbit. See, I couldn't say that all the time. More is not better.
Yeah.
Having 1,000 followers and not one of them that's going to buy your book just because maybe they like seeing you, talk to your dog or whatever. That's not the person that you're really trying to reach. You're trying to reach your ideal reader who likes the specific things you write about, your genre, your subgenre, themes, all of that. And those 1,000 people are just looky-loos. They're kicking
Hmm.
those tires. They're not going to buy your books.
Yeah.
You want people who are going to buy your book.
Yes.
So that's why the ideal reader is so important. And it's very interesting when I work with clients who they think their ideal reader is once they have gone through their author branding and discovered their core values. And then they really start looking at who would read their books, who needs these themes, who wants to read about this type of character that you write. And then they go, ah, I don't think that's my ideal reader. I'm like,
Mm.
no, it's not. But you wouldn't have known that, and you're throwing all your stuff out to somebody that's not going to buy your work.
Yep.
So it's very important. Those two exercises are very important. We
Very
cannot
important. Yep.
say that enough, and they're difficult. The first one is extremely difficult, I think, and that is the author brand, understanding yourself and figuring out your core values. Um, but yeah, so that's a big deal. So review those. If you haven't done those exercises, they are they in the show notes, Kat?
Well, where your website is. So Becky has
Oh yeah.
worked on her website and she has a whole page called free resources.
Yes. So you can go there and get these exercises. And there's also all of the links to the podcasts that we've done. If you haven't heard all of them or seen them,
Yeah,
I
because we
need to
talk
give,
about these in detail. So if you're like
yeah,
core values, what ideal reader, huh?
yeah,
We've
go back
talked we talked a lot.
a lot. So, um, so yeah, so think about what you use social media for. This is the question, and Kat brings it up, and I love this, is what do you think is happening on social media? Why are you on social media?
Mm,
If it's to sell books, probably not going to be the most successful place you can be.
yep.
If it's to build visibility,
Hmm.
that's a different thing. So, Kat, how many books do you think you've sold on social media?
Zero. I really think
Kat,
zero.
how many years have you been writing books?
I got I published in 2017. I mean, in for years, yeah, I mean I see people do the use social media how I used it for years.
Mhm.
Thinking I will say I have interviewed people who before TikTok sold directly sold books through TikTok. Now TikTok is like a shopping app. That is I think what their whole idea is. But it was a very extroverted person who was
Mhm.
very much only talking to his ideal reader. Like he was on point. He was himself. He was out there. And I watched him kill it. It was great. I was like, I can't do that. My ideal reader isn't really on TikTok, and now TikTok has completely changed, but Instagram's for visibility. Um,
Yeah,
there are people I see that are like, oh, I would like to buy their book, but it's not top of mind when you're on Instagram. You don't go and buy someone's book. I mean,
no.
I never
If you
have. I don't
stop
know
and
if you
write
have.
down that they have a book that you saw on Instagram, that would be good. But I mean, when you're scrolling, you're scrolling. You're not stopping
Yeah.
to buy stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so,
very few authors are putting, I've never seen an author put an actual ad to buy on
mm,
Instagram because
mm.
I mean, that's a great way to lose money too.
Yeah,
So,
I don't think that I mean, obviously for like book launches and stuff, yes, but
have you seen
you
it where
know,
the shop now?
no, I'm just saying using Instagram to make people aware
Oh,
and
yeah,
that
to
they can
run
go
it.
to Amazon and buy
Yeah,
the book or they can go to
exactly.
Barnes and Nobles, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
But
Kat and
just
I,
like you and I read this last week, the minute you stop paying for ads, there's a theory that Instagram tosses you to the ground,
Mhm.
which I would not put it past Meta for doing that. To just,
Well, it makes sense because they're
yeah,
there to make money.
they're there to make
So if
money.
if you do ads for 2 months, okay, so we're going to go back to this example. All right, so I've seen people that all of a sudden you see them on Instagram like every day, posts, everything's boosting. It's like constant, constant, constant. And then it's like crickets. You don't
Yeah.
see them, they're done.
Hmm.
And that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because if you are paying for all of these boosted ads and you're paying for the ad space and all of that, and then you stop, why would they keep putting you at the top of the algorithm? Because you've been paying them money,
Hmm.
then you stop, you're not being consistent, so you're down to the bottom of
Yeah.
that pile. And the
I'm
people
not
who
even
are paying go
sure.
to the top.
I mean, in just like we have said, for why are you on social media? What are you using it for? I personally would tell you to use it for visibility. Like that's it. And eventually get people on your newsletter. That could be your call to action, but whatever. But you
Mhm.
need to choose. Everybody needs to choose. But if you're going to do ads, because I see so many indie authors we throw money in a desperate attempt. This is what I see. And I hate to say it like this, but this is how it feels. There's so much desperation because there are so many books out there. It's really hard to get seen. Ask yourself why you're spending money on that ad, on that boosting. What is it going to get you? Like, and the thing is, they say, well, it's only $10. Well, it's only $20. But what is it going to get you? And unless you're going to actually take the data, which most of us hate doing, you're tossing money to Meta.
Mhm.
Like, let's all remember we're tossing it to Meta, however we feel about that. And they don't necessarily need it. Like,
No,
and
I don't think they need it.
no, I don't think so. Um, so, these questions that Becky and I are always asking, like, why are you doing it? It's really good to ask yourself, what result are you expecting? And then if you want to, I mean, I try a lot of stuff, but in the last 2.5 years, I've been trying to ask why, and then what result do I expect? And then I have to go back and look, did I get that result? And unfortunately, 80% of the time, I don't get the result I expected. Right. So, and that's not just social media, that's just using different platforms, different things. So, visibility, yes. I think you can also use social media for finding other authors that you can collaborate with,
Mhm.
which would be a great
Yes.
way to use it.
And having groups, I mean, if you have a group, then that's where you can meet. That's wonderful. And I do admit I skulk a lot of Facebook groups because I want to hear what people are saying. What are they asking? What are the questions that these writers have? What are they running into? And some
Mm-hmm.
of the things that I read, it makes me just want to cry or scream because there's so much information, especially if you're an indie author, that you need to know before you even start writing. And I have seen this question over and over and over again. I finished my book. Can somebody recommend a good publisher or tell me which agent they think I should use? It's
Yeah.
like, oh Lord. And I want to say, is your book been proofed? Has it had a developmental edit? Has your manuscript been evaluated? Do you know that it's in any kind of shape if you want to query? And do you know what querying
Yeah.
is if you want to traditionally publish?
Yep,
And people would
because
go,
you can't
I
just
don't
do
know.
it. You can't, it's not the 90s anymore, right? So,
No, it's not the 90s anymore. And, the writing part is tremendous. But if you are, especially if you're going to be an indie author, you need to save your money because you need somebody to do an edit on your book. You need
mhm.
to have a cover. You've got to pay for these things. So think about where you're spending your money and your
Yeah.
resources. And like Kat likes to say, stop drinking coffee for 3 months from Starbucks because then you can buy a new car. No, I'm just kidding. It's
A
like,
new car. But you can
but
pay your
yeah,
developmental editor, you know.
yes. Yeah,
Um,
because I read a lot of books and Kat does too. And I can immediately tell when I start reading a book that it's not been edited properly.
oh yes.
And one thing that really gets me is like, okay, if the character's eyes are blue in the beginning of the book and suddenly they're brown halfway through and their hair color has changed, I'm like, what?
That's weird. But
So,
yeah,
but
and you
it's
can get worse than
understandable.
that.
But there's a lot of stuff that goes into a book.
Oh yeah,
And
I mean, and remember, we're spending months to years writing a book, especially if it's your first few. And you need a developmental editor because I mean, what makes me really sad is okay, the eyes somebody can spot and probably help you out. But when it's a great premise and nobody helped you fully develop that premise
Mhm.
to get through that middle where it just needed to be like developed
Yeah.
out, and then that book ends and you're like, oh, but it could have been
It's so much better.
great.
Yeah, and for me, it's characters. I
Oh yeah.
can't stand a flat character, and when I
When it doesn't make
see,
sense,
yeah, I
why?
don't know why they're reacting the way they're reacting, and that's where a developmental editor or a coach
Mhm.
can really help you make sure that you're taking this really wonderful idea that you're spending so much time on,
Yeah,
and that you really want to get into the hands of readers, that it's good enough to, and all of the things that you have done will be the best they can be, because that's all of a
yeah,
coach and a developmental editor want. They want you to have the best book crafted
exactly.
before it gets into a reader's hand. That's
Exactly.
it. But that's hard. Okay,
Okay,
so we
so
got a little bit off of the
stop
topic
drinking
there.
coffee. No, I'm just kidding.
And buy
Number
a
one. No, I'm
car.
just kidding.
That's
So
right.
when we're
Right.
talking about marketing, so we'll have let's say the person it has believed us, the listener, and they're like, okay, I'm writing my book, but I'm going to start my marketing, and summer's coming and it's crazy. You had a great idea.
So I have a client who I love, and I think she's becoming a friend, and I'm very happy about that. And we've mentioned her before. It's Jamie Bradley, and she writes romance. A lot of it's military, and she was getting ready to publish her last book in this series, the Reasons series. And so the last one is called Reasons to Act. And we
I
were
love
going
that
through her
cover.
marketing. I know she's got the books are beautiful. Here's the three. So it's reasons to risk, reasons to stay, and reasons to act.
I love
And
it.
just so you know, she's got a novella for Christmas that's going to be
Yes, she
coming out.
does. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so Jamie and I were going through, um, you know, this whole idea of how do I create content? What makes a difference? What appeals to my ideal reader? And how do I do that without the panic of, I need to post something, I need to write
Mhm.
something, and you sit in front of your computer and you got like nothing, crickets. And she has a very good handle on who her ideal reader is.
Mhm.
So I would created this little exercise for her. And it's a content matrix. So what we needed to decide for Jamie was, what are the three things she wants to discuss and connect with her ideal reader? And then once you've chosen those three topics, what are the categories that go underneath? And she was like, "Oh, okay, this makes sense. I don't Let me try it." So before I knew it, like 15 minutes later, she's like, "Oh, I have my three columns and here are some ideas." And so we are looking at it and it's like, "Oh yeah, this is great." Now you can take each one of those and just narrow it down a little bit more if you're going to do social media posts. And for her, Jamie has quite an interesting life. She is the mother of four. Everybody's going to know how many kids she has because I think I've said it 25 times. She's the mother of four. She is a military spouse. Her husband is retired now, but she grew up on a farm. So she's a farmer. She works with, and Jamie, excuse me if I said this wrong, cow genetics. She writes articles about the genetics of cows. She has animals herself. So that is a big part of who she is. And one of the things that runs through her books, her theme is hope. Because
Mhm.
as a farmer, things can be really, really tough a lot of the year, but there's always hope that there will be, there's going to be the season. It's going to keep changing. You're going to have harvest. You're going to plant. So those seeds are the things that bring hope to farmers that, there are things we know we can do. And so hope runs through her books. And
And I
because
would bet she didn't make that connection just willy-nilly. I bet she thought of that. And I
yeah,
mean, I say that because there are things about each and every one of us, because you and I hear it and we heard it on the live. Well, I don't have that. That's nobody wants to hear about me. You can you can think I am a cow genetics specialist. Who wants to hear about that? But you go from that to I'm a farmer. Oh, I write about hope. Oh, that's interesting because that's what my mother always used to say. Oh, that's ingrained in me. I'm making
mhm,
it up how Jamie got to this point, but then you come to why people care about it. Like
yeah.
it takes some thought.
And one of the things that I love that she does is she uses her and use your animals as a
I mean,
brainstorming
that's
tool.
just genius.
So, you see
Now I
her,
want
she's
a
doing this.
cow.
I know. So she's got a cow named Angel. She has a goat named Barbara. She has a chicken named something. I can't even see it. But anyway, so she's got these animals and she's talking. So she's doing a little video, right? And she's talking about this character she's thinking about writing. And she's talking and she's like, I don't know. What do you think? Should I do this? And I'm like, who is she talking to? Then she pans over and it's Angel the cow. And
Yeah,
Angel's like, "Meow." She's talking to her, whatever. It's
it's so
brilliant
good.
because it makes me laugh, but I'm also listening to what she's saying. And then, she asks Darla the goat the same question, or Barbara the sheep. I think I've got those backwards. But it's wonderful because one, it
Yeah.
captures my attention. I am a person who loves animals, right?
Hmm.
Which they're very important to me. And I do think that a lot of times, if you've got a dog or a cat, tell me you have not talked to them. Tell me you have not told them your problems, or you talk to them like they're humans sitting in the room. I have. I will admit it. Cat, you can admit it too. I'll admit it for you. I know you talk to your
I'm trying to
dog.
think. I do talk to her, but I've never talked out my books to her.
Well, maybe you ought to start.
I should
So
start.
anyway, so that's one of the topics that Jamie
But I would
used.
also like that's very much Jamie, that's her life, but her
Yeah,
books are not about farmers. Like when
yeah,
you're thinking about your content, it does she right now her series is military. Maybe she will write about farmers, but she's connecting who she is, a part of her that she's willing to share. She's using it in a very creative and funny way. It's very interesting. And then she connects her writing to it. It doesn't always have to be so like blatantly about your book. And this goes especially to nonfiction writers. Like, you don't always have to be like in a classroom if you're a teacher and your book is, like you
yeah.
have to find a way to be who you are, like something
Hmm.
that's important to you. And then we find it entertaining and funny. And then we're hearing about her book. And then we'll probably want to go follow her and then buy her book, but
I mean,
it's not like farmer books. You know what I mean?
no, that's just one part of her personality. And
Yeah.
it is beautiful the way that she does it because Jamie's just a normal mom. She has a career. She loves her animals. She loves her kids too. Don't get me wrong. She loves her kids.
They
But
just don't want to
it's
hear about her
really,
books, probably.
it's just interesting though, because writers are so isolated
Hmm.
and you want to talk to someone about your ideas. You want to know that you're on the right track or, is somebody interested in this? And so it's just a great way for her to be able to show that
Hmm.
yes, I have animals and I talk to them and we talk about my books and it's entertaining, but it also shows you part of Jamie
Part of
and what
her.
is her life. Because remember, know, like, trust. Your readers want to know you. They want to trust you.
Hmm.
And then they like you and they will buy your books because they're expecting a book to come out from you and they want to read it.
Yeah.
The other topics that she chose for her matrix were um, how I write, being a mom.
Hmm.
And then the last one was about being a military wife and how that has affected this series that she's just written. And so the thing with the writing when you're a mom, if you have 4 kids and you're trying to write and you also have a career, how in the world do you do it?
Right.
She's at hockey games, she's at soccer games, she's at softball games, she's at baseball games. And so she has learned to write while she's at those games on her phone because she knows she's going to be just exhausted by the time she gets home, dinner, homework, whatever. So she has learned to do this while she's, there being there with her kids. And she said one time that she likes to look around at the games because there's women in business suits and blah, blah, and they're there with their kids screaming, but they're also typing. They're
Yeah.
doing work. And this is what it means to be a modern day woman.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard to always find chunks of time for yourself. So, and Jamie has to write. She is like the majority of writers that I know. She has to write. It's
Hmm.
her outlet. It's where her creativity comes out. It's hers. It
Hmm.
belongs to her. And it is something that she doesn't feel whole unless she is doing it.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, that kind of thing, that goes back to her core values and how she has to use her creativity and the stories that are in her mind. And that fulfills her. That fills up her cup, right? So she's got to do it. She's had to find time to do it around all of these other things. And she's making a really good go of it, actually. She does
Oh,
really, really well. But one of the other things that I think is fun is, you know, how to write when your kids are at home. And she writes spicy romance. So she doesn't necessarily want her kids seeing what she's writing. So it might be she goes to the barn to do chores. And if you're listening, I'm putting up the air quotes because, kids don't want to go do chores. So she will go out to the barn
and write the
and
sexy
write
scene with the cows.
and right with the cows because that's what she has to do. And then the military part of it is actually using experiences that she's had and how she knows that military um, people in the service and those who are part of their families, how they have experienced things, how they react to things, things that she's seen. My favorite thing was she said, um, she was walking down a pier, it might have been her or someone else, I'm not sure, and she was in San Diego. And she said, and then I tripped over a seal. And I was like, wow, what was the seal doing up on the boardwalk? And she goes, it was a man. He was like doing planks or something in the middle of the boardwalk, and she's like on her phone or whatever, and then go, and I'm like, that's brilliant. I
That's
tripped over
hilarious.
a seal. I'm like, I
That's
love it. I'm like
hilarious.
that. That's just
Only in
so
San
she.
Diego could that happen.
Yes, yeah. Makes me want to move to San Diego.
It is
Oh wait, no, I'm
beautiful.
married and I'm happily married.
But
But
we can enjoy a nice
we
campus.
can just enjoy the illustration or the idea of it.
So
But
what
so,
what you guys did, you and Jamie, is like finding three things about her that she's willing to share.
mhm,
And then
yes.
she found three things about um what did you say below it? What did you call it?
So the below it was examples. So
Okay.
her topics are the the three headings: farm life, being a farmer. Then the second is how I write while I'm a mom.
Hmm.
And then the third one is, my military experiences and why they're so important to my stories.
Right.
So those are the three things she wants to talk to her ideal reader about. And then underneath of that, what we wanted to do was, okay, now let's take that and break it down.
Yeah.
So that's where we came up with, she's talking to Angel the cow, and how she incorporates things that she can tell her ideal reader about her book, but do it in the context of being a
Right.
farmer,
Right. Right.
and then how to write as a mom. Here's all the things I do as a mom, and these are the ways that I can write as a mother
Hmm.
and still fulfill all of my duties. And then the other part was, talking about being a military wife.
Right. And you
And
get to mix those up. Like you can talk about,
yeah,
like, if those are the things you want to talk about, you can relate them to your books, relate them to your writing, or you can just tell a funny story about how you tripped over a
yeah,
seal one day. Like that, honestly, would be
I know.
hilarious.
Oh, she's
Like,
got another one about being working on a ranch and a moose flying. Oh, yeah, she's got a lot of good stuff. And the thing is, everybody's got a lot of good stuff.
right,
If you
right.
sit down and think about it, because yes, when we had the live stream on Friday, we had what, three people on there that said nobody's interested in what I have to say. Why are they interested in what I
Your
have to say?
ideal
And it's
reader
like
is.
your ideal reader is absolutely interested in what you have to say. And
Hmm.
yes, it surprises us because we don't always know how valuable what we're doing is.
Right.
And so, it's just like when you're sitting with a friend and you're talking about all the mundane stuff that you do, but you're listening because you like that person
Hmm.
and you want to know, how are things going? Has your daughter learned to tie her shoes yet? I mean, that's just kind of a crazy example, but for two moms that have younger children and they're struggling to get their, shoes tied, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
exactly.
And if your ideal reader is connecting to you because of specific things that you write that reflect who you are, what you do, how you react, that's interesting to
Yes.
them.
Yes. And if it
And
if people don't find it interesting, it's not your ideal reader. Like,
that's right.
and
Yeah.
that's okay. It's a great way to, and so, and I know we're using her social media posts, but really the matrix is also very useful for newsletters. So we had a couple of people on the live who said, "Well, I got off social media." Okay, but how many times do you sit down to write your newsletter or your Substack and you go, "What do I talk about?" Well, you have the three things that you're willing to share about you. I mean, I know a lot of, like, I'm a very private person. I know a lot of other writers are. And so I think that can sometimes get in your head as well. Like, but I'm willing to share this. And then what is a story that I can share about it? It doesn't always have to come back to your books, but it can, every
Yeah.
once in a while it should. Um, but the last thing we need is to sit down in the summertime to a blank page feeling like, okay, I need to take the kids to the pool or I need to meet my husband for the company barbecue, but I should get my newsletter out. Well, then if you just have this matrix, you go, oh, I can
You've
share
got
that.
content there.
You have
And
the
the other
content.
thing, so if we take it away from social media, and I'm glad, Kat, that you brought that up. If you write a blog, you have a Substack, you have a newsletter, if you have any long form writing, you can take that. It's never just about one thing. There's always
Mhm.
different things in there that you're saying. Break it out, put that into the matrix of,
Mhm.
oh, in this blog, I talked about how I wash my car with a blindfold on. And then I talked about how you don't fall down when you have a blindfold on and you're washing your car. I think I need a psychiatrist to help me
I
with
was
that.
like, that's an odd example, but okay.
I'm good with the odd examples, but you break it down so that
Mhm.
you have all these little content ideas that
Right.
can be a paragraph in your newsletter.
Yes.
And you can break your newsletter down into the three areas that you want to talk to your readers about:
Yes.
being a mom, being a writer, uh, being a trapeze artist. I don't know, whatever it is. Man, I'm weird today. Did I forget
Dude,
my
if
medicine?
you're a
I'm not
trapeze
sure.
artist, definitely write about that.
Yes. So, so this is a tool that you build over time.
Right.
It's not something that you're going to sit down and have a 5-page matrix of information
Yeah.
all at once. But you start building on it. Pick that first topic, get those headings that you want to share with your ideal reader. Then start putting things underneath of those when you look at the content that you already
Right.
have created or that you want to create,
Right. So
and start building this out. It's a
exactly.
library. It's a
Exactly.
library of content.
I would put
Uh,
it started on your notes app or download your
mhm.
Google Docs app to your phone or
Yeah.
when you're being a lifeguard called mom, you know,
Yeah.
and you think of something funny that your kid did or you remember something, put it in there. And I
And
just
what
put
category
your
does it
ideas.
go under? I
Right.
mean, what category does that go under?
Right.
So
Exactly.
then you have these ideas, and just this one worksheet, we've got like 4 pages of ideas, um, 4 pages of columns and ideas to put on your social media or your long form content, newsletter, whatever it's going to be, so
Hmm.
that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And doing this over the summer, you can take your time, and as Kat said, speak it into your phone. I keep a notebook with me most of the time because I like to handwrite stuff.
Hmm.
It helps my brain remember it better.
Yes.
So however it works for you, and then put it into this spreadsheet, put it into this matrix. And here's the thing: you can have more than 3 topics.
Yeah.
You can have as many topics as you want, but it's easier to start with the first three.
Hmm.
Um, but this also can be an idea form as well. You can add an idea column to it.
Hmm.
However, it works best for you, that when you are sitting down to do something with your marketing and you're like, I don't have content, you go to this form, you go to your computer library of content, and there's a bunch of stuff for you
Yes.
to use.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
and it's, if I think long form content is probably the easiest to use. And that is one thing that I do, is I help people break out their content and be like, look, you've got 2 months of social media posts here just in this 3 paragraphs. Because remember, with social media, it has to be repetitive.
Yes, it
You need to
does.
be repetitive because
Yeah.
people don't catch it the first time. And we also have talked about how to reuse your content, saying it in different ways, which that's something else I work with writers on. So
Yeah, absolutely.
you
So
can,
would they need to I would start with three. So, I mean, three is
yeah,
kind of like the human magic number, right? You start with three
yeah,
things about yourself that you're willing to share. You break it down, what kind of reader, what kind of writer you are, what kind of ideal reader you're looking at, and start just adding, you know, ideas to it and see what.
mhm,
And if you are long form, like you said, you can then take that, whatever long form, and put it into your social media. I also think what you said about going, if you've had long form for a while, going back and seeing what you have written about,
yeah,
most likely you can, that's what you are interested in sharing
yeah,
about yourself. So go see what they are, go see what your themes are, and you're always allowed to repeat. I always have to remind
yeah.
myself, whatever I wrote 3 years ago, nobody
Repeat it.
remembers. You need to
Remembers.
repeat it. But we
Yeah.
also wanted to say going into summer, like, I mean, and okay, we're in the northern hemisphere, so we're in summer. So if you're in the southern hemisphere, sorry, um, we're going to talk
Oh, I didn't
about
even think about that.
it. I just think
Mm.
about those poor Australians sometimes, but they always have sunshine, so it's fine. I think. If you are wanting to do social media, because I think a lot of people do want to try social media in some sort of form. We wanted to go through some things that you can practice or get a little bit better on. I was talking to a client just last week, and she's in her 60s, and of course, she's just like afraid of social media. It's just very intimidating, right? You see all these young people; they're very natural. So we kind of want to take away the mystery of that. I want to go through a couple things for social media. Um, First of all, like just practical things. If you want to do social media, I think that you should practice. Like taking a selfie. I don't know about you, Becky, but when I first started, I would avoid looking because it was just like it feels so unnatural to us.
And I'm
It
always trying to not get my double chin in there. And do I have a best side? And
Yes,
yeah, and it's ridiculous.
it's
I mean, I am what I
really
am.
it's frustrating because you see young people just literally, like you said, your son doesn't even look. He takes pictures wherever he's taking, and they come out fine. And we're all like, oh, angle, there are things. I'm going to put some links in the show notes. So, I would get a tripod. They're pretty cheap. I would practice. And I told my client this, just practice. And um, you don't have to post what you practice. You cannot
Yeah.
imagine the amount of things that I have done in, like for some reason, even alone, I feel very silly doing it. I've gotten better, but just practice and practice and practice until it doesn't feel so weird. I'm not saying you have to go to the coffee shop where a bunch of people are there and set your camera up. If you're cool with that, that's fine. But just practice in your house, being on the camera, looking at yourself in the camera, taking a video, talking out loud about nonsense. Who cares? Just practicing because the intimidation will come down and then delete it. It's fine. I
Yeah.
want, if you are at the very beginning, if you're very uncomfortable, but you really want to do this, I would say, like, just challenge yourself to be on the camera, then delete it. Be on the camera, delete it. You'd be surprised how quickly the intimidation layer lowers. I also told her, okay, you have like 150 followers. Two of them are going to see your posts because that's how Instagram works. And
Yeah.
thank goodness, because nobody scrolls back and sees all my terrible posts in which I'm like so awkward.
I do. I do.
Don't say that, Becky. Eventually, no one's going to see them because if you post and you post, very few, except for Becky Grogan, goes back and scrolls.
Just doing it to help you, Kat.
Yeah, but I highly doubt you scrolled all the way back to 2017. So
Well, now I have something to do for the next 3 days because I got nothing on my books. Yeah,
that's
right.
true.
Yeah.
I will just sit there scrolling.
I'm just going to scroll through all the cats. But I mean, it is too, when I've worked with people who are doing live presentations, so they're on the stage, they're going to present to an audience of people. Um, it's very hard the first time they stand up in front of you and they know that and we'd always video from the beginning as they're practicing because you need to see where you're improving.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one friend that didn't realize it, like they're talking with chin in their chest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why are you doing that? It's like, doing what? Talking like this. I'm like, so
Yeah,
it's
you
simple
really
things
don't
like
see
that.
it. Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
because why would you? You don't watch yourself present. But the people who are sitting in front of you, one, they can't understand what you're saying if your chin is down in your chest. Or in my case, I talk way too fast.
I talk a lot. Most people talk way too fast.
And
Yeah.
so when I was doing live presentations and doing them on a very frequent basis, I learned the pause. I learned to slow down so that I wasn't going, um, because I was getting distracted. You
Mm-hmm.
know, learn to look at the audience or out over the audience so they, pick eye contact and all those different things. But it really is helpful because you know what? Nobody's perfect.
No. And we
No
got to
presentation is going
practice.
to ever be perfect.
There's
Yeah.
no one who's doing this. Like everyone that you're following that you think is very cute and very like confident, it's because it's probably look at how many posts they go to their profile and see how many posts they have done.
Posts they've done.
I
Yeah.
have done, I think, over 2,000, and that's on just this Instagram profile, which is my third. You know, like, and I've been running the podcast for 6 years. It took 2 years before I stopped sweating before I like before every interview. You have to practice. I mean, this is
Mhm.
what I have learned when literally I recorded myself for 30 days, one every day a video. I never put them out, but it was a challenge because I just couldn't imagine talking to a camera. It was so much intimidation. Just practice. I also would encourage you, if you don't really use social media the way that you are wanting to use social media now for your books, get somebody who understands the apps to walk you through it, because
Mhm.
you're going to need to see it differently. You're going to need to know where your saved posts are. You're going to need to know how to use the audio. You're going to need to know how to post a carousel, which we went over in the live. You know, somebody said, "Oh, I didn't know I could post several pictures at once." It's because, young people have grown up with this. We have not grown up with
Mhm.
this. Grab somebody to walk you through it, and grab somebody to walk you through different apps, not just the like on your cell phone camera app. There are other apps that people are using.
Yeah. And we also are embarrassed to have to say, I don't really understand the nuts and bolts of using Instagram or Facebook or Book
Yeah,
Talk or
don't be
TikTok or
embarrassed.
whatever. We have to learn. And especially like for me, I'm older and a lot of this stuff is new. And I learn it because I don't teach Instagram or digital marketing, but I need to know it for my clients.
Yeah.
And there's so much information out there. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God.
Yep.
But, if you're interested in doing something on Instagram in a serious way, then learn how to use it.
Right.
And if there's a
Exactly.
kid in your house, they can probably show you how to do it.
Call a niece,
Um,
nephew, ask a neighbor.
yeah.
Most people are not going to have a hard time showing you how to do this stuff. Um, and one of our ideas was actually, if you do have a kid, have them help you film. Like it would actually be really
Yeah.
anything you can do. And I told my client this, anything that you can do to make it fun, to lower that, just like, oh my gosh, I'm on camera, that's sort of like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
know how I'm doing this, I'm very awkward. Just ask somebody um to do it with you. And especially
Yeah.
if they're younger, they're going to have more fun. Or actually, I do have some old friends in their 50s and 60s who are killing it. They just love it. So ask
Yeah.
them if they know, if you have a friend, a neighbor, whatever. um but I think it would be so fun to see people with little kids, like from the kids' point of view, like,
Yeah.
mom,
But it's
stop
funny because
writing.
the kids know it's programmed into them now
Oh my
how to use
gosh.
social media and how to use a camera on a phone and
Yes.
all of these different things.
Yes.
And so, if you are doing things with your kids this summer, if you're doing a staycation and you're with your kids all the time,
Have
invite
them
them into
have,
in this
yes.
world of yours and have
Yes.
them,
And see what comes of it. So one thing that people will say on social media is they say use B-roll. If you don't know what B-roll is, that is just literal like movie movement. So anyone taking a picture, it's somebody, taking a picture of them walking with coffee, that taking a picture of walking through the woods, taking a picture of them pouring coffee, everything that is just movement that isn't necessarily them talking to the screen or them doing something specifically, that's all called B-roll. And everyone who teaches digital marketing is like, record some B-roll. Have your kid, if you are typing next to the pool, have your kid or get a tripod and record that. Just have a minute of it. See what it is. Honestly, it takes me forever because it's always the wrong angle. Because I'm like, I just don't know why. Like, I need somebody that understands camera. It takes me forever, but it's okay. You're learning. You put it there. You look at it. You just need a couple. Like, gather 10 minutes of B-roll of different things. And you actually had a great idea of just choosing three spots, three
yeah, choose
spots
your
that
three spots. Yeah. And if you don't want to put your face on camera, this is another way to do it. Like, and okay, Kat, I'm using you again. Kat loves to eavesdrop in public places on people to hear what they're saying. It gives her ideas for her books. And so, you know, one of the things that I was saying to her was if you go to a park and that's where you sit and you watch people, if you're people watching, then do the B-roll then. Have it be surrounding where you are. I mean, you could, show the park bench you're sitting on. You could show your feet, you could show your hands, you could show whatever. But use that for anything that you're posting that has to do with here's where I get my ideas. And
Mm-hmm.
then Kat is a huge coffee drinker. So she will take her computer to a coffee shop. Same deal.
Mm-hmm.
Film the coffee shop, film the bookstore, whatever, and then show your hands typing or drinking your coffee or whatever they put in your latte kind of thing. That's another form of B-roll. And then a third one, which I really love Kat's office. And I'm like, Kat, I want to see your office. I want to pan of your office and the different things that are in there. The balls of paper that are rolled up on your floor because you're writing and you're throwing crap on the floor. Because
Yeah.
I do that and I really relate to being surrounded by paper that nobody knows what's on it but me,
Mm-hmm.
but don't touch it, right?
But don't let your
So,
husband throw it away.
yes, so her writing cave. So I call that her writing cave. And there you have it. You have three places that you can do B-roll that you're comfortable with. You don't have to show your face, and then you use them for your posts
Yep.
and you put them into context.
Yep.
Like, Kate, I'm in my writing cave and I've written 3,000 words today and they all suck. But you know what? Tomorrow's another day and I will try
Right.
again.
Right.
Um,
Right.
whatever it is. So that's all you have to do. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be this huge production of, we work ourselves up into a frenzy and then we do nothing because
Yes,
we
this is
scare
so
the
true.
daylights out of ourselves. We're
This
like,
is true.
oh, I've got to go. Oh, it's not. And if it's me, I'm like, oh, squirrel,
Yeah.
I'm
I
like off
forget.
on
Oh my
something
gosh.
else.
I know. I know.
Yes.
So what we want you guys to choose what you're doing, right? Choose your three um columns. Choose what you're going to practice this summer because as Becky always says, you have to be able to sustain it. If you choose long form once a week, keep it up.
Yeah.
Like when start it when you can keep it up. If you want to do social media twice a week, make sure that you're doing it. Start it when you can keep sustaining it, right? Then that's why we say practice, learn the apps, learn Substack if that's what you're going to do. If you want to blog, learn the blogging platform that you're going to use. Um, it's great to have ideas. I'm typically somebody who will jump right into it, but that doesn't work usually. You need to learn the platform, you need to learn what you're doing, how to use it, and choose how you're going to use it. It's
And
in
choose
this will all
one, just
just choose
one.
one. Yeah, we're not saying to do all of these. Absolutely not.
No.
Um,
But having a repository for your content it's going to help you no matter what.
yes, exactly.
If you are not even thinking about marketing, but you know that you are going to have a Substack, or you're going to only
Yes,
talk about craft, or you just want to communicate on a platform with other writers and say, this is something that I've been thinking about. Here's an example of what I've written,
right.
in a group, in a forum for writers that has nothing to do with marketing.
Yeah.
Have those things at your fingertips so that you can actually, one, it's a good habit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good habit to look at what you have and learn how to use it
Yeah.
so that it serves more than one purpose.
Yeah.
Because we
Absolutely.
can't create something every time we sit down to write
Yeah.
or to, I mean, if you're doing a book, that's one thing, but for any type of marketing purposes, sure, if you want new content, that's totally up to you. But if you need something that will help you be consistent and sustainable in your posts, your newsletter, all of that, have a place where you gather that information
Mm-hmm.
and put it into bite-sized pieces that you can use that give you more information
Yeah.
to put out there.
Yeah.
And you won't
So
scream as much.
exactly. So
Yeah.
we really want to hear from you guys if you decide to start social media or if you're already doing it but you're sort of taking some of this advice, tag us. We would love to see it. Um, we would love to hear from you. We are going to have another live in September. We're going to take off for the summer. So come to the live and tell us what you practiced this summer or actually, started. We'd love to hear any of that. Like all of it's a win, whether you start practicing, whether you just start gathering ideas, whether you actually start you know, an app or a long form or a newsletter, those are all wins, all of it, because
Yeah,
marketing is a marathon. It is
it
not a sprint.
is. It's a long, long game.
Yes.
But remember that anything you do, especially in those days where you think you're not doing anything,
Mhm.
just take 1 minute and look back at what you accomplished in that day and you build on that.
Mhm.
That's you have to, because if you're constantly digging yourself into a hole where you think you are doing nothing, you will be so surprised if you actually took, like I said, 1 minute to list out in 60 seconds what you've accomplished that day. Even if it's like I was saying the other day, the only thing I did was I did laundry, I painted a piece of furniture, and then I started going through. I'm like, and I did dinner, and I wrote a meal plan, and I'm like, dang,
Yes.
what did I think I was supposed to do today? Like
Right. Right.
paint a portrait
Right.
or, conquer the world. It's the little things that you need to build on because that's what we have. That's what we do.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so give yourself credit for everything that you do because it's hard, especially if you have children and a job and a husband and a whatever. You're building a
Yeah.
business, you're building a writing business. You've got to look at the things that you've accomplished and know that you're
Exactly.
really important and you're kicking it
Yes.
because you got out of bed, man. You got out of bed. Sometimes that's the one. It's like, I got out of bed
I got out of bed.
and I took a shower today. Yes.
As usual, Becky gives us the greatest encouragement ever for us to feel like superhumans,
Take
and
a
we're going to go out.
shower.
Just take a shower. You're fine. Tag us
You're
when you know.
fine.
I'm just kidding. I
Tell us if you took a
did
shower.
it.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I hated those days when my husband's like, honey, have you taken a shower today? I'm like, what's it to
don't
you?
don't talk to
"Hmm,
me.
don't talk to me. I'm busy being hard on myself. So let me go see what I've actually accomplished. And then if I can add taking a shower on top of that, bam,
Exactly.
red letter day right there. Red letter day.
All
So
right.
yeah,
Well, you have a wonderful summer, Becky, although I will see you. But
you too, Kat.
everyone
Yeah.
have a wonderful summer. Be sure to go to Becky's website, which are in the show notes below, beckythebookcoach.com, and get the free resources. Tag us.
Yeah.
We want to hear.
And just one thing. So I need to just say one thing.
Yes.
If you go to my website and if you get on my newsletter, I am going to start a group coaching pod
Yes.
cohort, what you want to call it, group, collective, whatever. And at the beginning of August. So I will be putting out information about that. And there's only 6 spots because I prefer to work with smaller groups. And yeah, so that's coming up, and I'm excited. I
That'll
can't
be so
stop this
exciting.
summer. But
That'll
I
be
don't have
so
kids,
exciting.
so I'm in a little bit better position to maybe keep going. We'll see.
Yes,
I'll do
absolutely.
my best, and I will celebrate my wins.
Exactly. All right. We will
Thanks,
see
you
you
guys.
guys in back to school time.
September, back to school. All right, take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.